only way to expose the truth is to be indecent. Two men might just be indecent enough to do it. Enter a wannabe amateur disc golfer who reads Reddit threads and a fake cowboy who lifts weights. This is Indecent Exposure. It's time to plunge down the rabbit hole with your hosts, Ryan and Sam.
Look how fucked my hair is, right? I look like an idiot.
Yeah, your hair looks fucking stupid all the time.
It does, dude. When I shower and then I put a hat on, because apparently I look weird doing this podcast without one.
That's true.
Yeah, just
kind of bullied you into wearing a hat
immediately. But then I depending on the angle, you can see like right to my bald scalp. There, that's the best it's gonna get. But you know what? When I'm 6'3", so like most people aren't staring at my scalp, so that's fine.
This is a good intro.
It's a great intro.
Intro.
I'm 30 years old and I feel like I'm losing my hair. I don't feel that I'm losing my hair. I just have really thin hair. And I know if I was like 5'10", like my brother, I'd probably be worried about it too, because everyone's just like, "Damn, dude, your hair's thin."
Because you can see it, because you can look down into it.
Yeah, exactly. I look down at my brother, I'm like, "That's gonna be you in 5 years." Yeah, you Italian little ass hat. I don't know.
Fafanafoli.
Yeah. Bon appetito. I did not make that up. That's actually a real word.
Ti amo. Means I love you.
Nice.
Pretty easy.
Yeah. That's cool, dude. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 14.
The Twitter Files, part 17.
We're done. Part 35 of the Twitter Files.
So tired of talking about them.
So glad that we put that to bed. Kind of. We were just kind of when I was editing that video, I was like, damn, we were just so over this. Oh,
there's no, like, if anyone listens to that episode, we were not enthused. We were just ready to get over it.
Yeah.
I think it'd be different if I had like a strong opinion on something like 9/11 or like train derailments or Murdoch trials. I don't know.
We did have a strong opinion on it. It was just so much.
There was so much. And I think that's where the point where we just kind of get lazy. We're just like, gosh, there's so much information. We're just constantly being lied to, and we already know it, I think.
It was frustrating. It was just really frustrating, too, that we'd been lied to for that long on a trusted social media site that a lot of people use to get their news, and to know that it was intentionally being manipulated by our own government and by the people at Twitter, and then they lied about it.
And that's just one big company, one social media company. Think about Google and Facebook, and I don't know if Amazon's part of that because they don't really have social networking. But you got to think that anyone with a social platform that gains as big as Twitter, Facebook has been manipulated by the government.
Anybody that has that kind of control over and that many people on its platform is dangerous.
There's some hands dipping in all of the different slots, I'm sure.
As we saw.
And I'm sure every CEO was like, this is not what I intended on doing. I don't think any CEO in this modern day and age, especially one that controls actually, I take that back, especially ones who control big media outlets, are probably got their hands either tied behind their backs, or they keep getting money or some sort of entity of give or take of services, monetary value, whatever it may be, to deepen their pockets or give them political gain, and probably deeper pockets. Let's be honest. Capitalism is a good system, but there's so many factors.
There's people that take advantage of it and take advantage of the people.
Yeah, in my opinion, we do live in a capitalistic society. It's just gotten more, and what I learned in like economics back at Mizzou, that kind of like what Russia has, a lot of oligarchs. We have the same thing in America, where a few companies control the rest. and it's just a trickle down
Which
effect.
is not how it's supposed to be.
No,
because capitalism is supposed to be anti-monopoly.
It should be. Problem is, it's been ongoing for so long that I know we do need some government intervention, and we have government intervention, but in the wrong way of doing things. Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. Take money out of politics, but anywho, that's.
Yeah. Stop lobbying.
Stop putting money into politicians' hands. But it goes so deep that it's like, where do you stop? Where do you begin? Like, people were like, we need to revolt, stop paying taxes. Like, well, if we can get all 330 million Americans to quit paying taxes all at the same time, which that's probably half because there's kids and married spouses and whatnot. But it's like, dude, we're barely on track to, one, have enough people vote for a president, let alone that is divided in half most of the time anyways. So, good. Revolution, yeah, we need of some sort.
Maybe you can lead it, man.
I'm good. I don't really care. I'm just here to. I think that's where most Americans were just like, yeah, I'll just bend over.
I think that's the problem, though. I think we need to care.
I do care.
Because if we don't care, then we don't. There's no change. And
but everyone's like, where do we start? Where do we begin?
I think we know where to start. You start at the top. You start with the people that make the laws.
Okay, what do you do, Ryan?
What you do is you
don't vote for them, because there's going to be idiots voting for them regardless.
Yeah, but I think somehow you got to put pressure on your local politicians to make change.
But do you have a problem with Mayor Quentin Lucas?
I mean, I probably don't agree with.
Do we know enough about the innards and outwards of his business dealings and whatnot? Probably not even on a local level.
True, but I'm sure we could find out. I mean, there's ways to do that. I mean, there's a Freedom of Information Act.
All right. Well, why don't you give me a report next week, and then I'll get started with the revolution, okay?
All right. I'll work on that, and then you work on the next part. Okay?
You got it. Yeah, I'll bring people together.
Plan's coming together, folks.
All right. Just started to hear.
We're talking about East Palestine.
Yeah, what
who's the fuck is my Discord going off for?
I don't know. I got the same notification. Is that in Jerusalem? Like Israel?
No,
where's that country?
It's actually in Ohio.
Oh. What?
Yes. East Palestine. They call it East Palestine, I think.
East Palestine. Yeah, they do.
Whereas you would want to call it East Palestine, but it's East Palestine.
Sure.
And if you guys recall, a month ago now, a little over a month ago, a train derailed 150, 149 cars caught on fire.
Mm-hmm. It was huge.
But I think 11
if you haven't heard
cars,
about this, you are buried under a rock.
You are.
But to that token, it really hasn't been widely reported on.
Well, as you pointed out last episode, it's kind of lost its heat a little bit.
We're bringing it back in the media because people need to know about this. This is bad. This is
because the people there they're suffering, and it's like their health is at stake, and the state isn't doing anything. What's the guy? Mike DeWine, the representative of the mayor of Ohio.
I don't know.
I can't remember we'll look it up. But Mike DeWine, he's not really doing a whole lot, and he's not really answering questions. Biden hasn't even gone out. He hasn't even gone there, and he said he hasn't made plans to go out there. It took Pete Buttigieg backlash from.
It took him almost 3 weeks to go visit.
Yeah, and he only went there because of the backlash that he got for not going there, not being the first one there.
And he only went there because it was on his way to Kansas City, where KCI just opened up their new airport, so he could cut the ribbon with them.
Like, and he also went to DeSoto because the Panasonic plant was opening up.
Right. It was a Oh, well, how convenient on my little campaign trail do I get to go and visit these places? Which I like Pete Buttigieg as a candidate for the DNC.
I don't. He's fucking terrible.
Well, I did. I liked his policies.
You did?
They were okay.
What were his policies? You mean
back when he was running?
Did he run for president?
He was in the DNC for primaries.
He was a candidate?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm almost sure. Really? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Because there's like 12 Democrats running.
Is he a candidate now?
I think eventually he'll want to. I mean, he's in Biden's cabinet. Why wouldn't you? Anyone that's ever been a cabinet leader has tried to probably run for office.
Well, I think it depends if Biden runs again. I think he is, but
I don't think he will, man.
Well, his wife came out publicly and said that he was, but he hasn't publicly said he is.
Conspiracy
How pissed
theory.
would you be, dude, if you were like, you're ready to hang it up and Deb's out there and she's like, oh yeah, he's going to run it again. And you're like,
I'd be like, no, I'm so tired.
Again, I guess, because
that guy doesn't do anything anyways. He wakes up, he eats his ice cream, and he goes and reads teleprompters incorrectly all day. It's just like, hey, don't screw this up. It'll say like pause, and he'll be like, pause, and you're like,
yeah,
what?
I was
you're not supposed to read that. I know you were.
That's fucking hilarious.
He's just as funny as Donald Trump as a president, I think. As far as like semantics go and whatnot,
we don't need the 80-year-olds right now.
We don't need 80.
We don't need old comedians right now. We don't
need 80-year-olds running our country either.
We need a good 40, 50.
I want like a 45, 50-year-old. Yeah, exactly.
I want a 45-year-old who's got 3 kids. And he's been through it. You know,
maybe even throwing a divorce.
Sure.
Like he cheated,
remarried or something.
He was a bad husband, and he came back.
A bad husband?
No, like previously, like he had a bad marriage, and he was a bad husband, and then he got better.
Oh, then he became better from it.
Right.
Show the growth. Be like, look.
Right. I was a broken man.
Good. Yeah. But you know what? I raised my kids still. I got remarried. Now I've learned from my mistakes, and look at us now.
Yeah, I'm running for president. I'm young. I've been through some shit. I used to run a company. We paid our employees good. Something like that. I don't know. You know, former businessman and then turned politician who was like, I was tired of seeing the indiscrepancies of, you know, the 1% and trying to help this younger generation that I know that I've seen their struggles. You know, it's so hard to buy a house nowadays. So I don't know. I'm just going on a little tangent.
We're doing our classic thing where we get way off topic.
I don't care. Train derailment is bad.
Train derailment episode.
But I looked up a stat, and I'm sorry, I lost the link, but it was like there's like 20,000 derailments that have happened since 2000. Or since 1990. Like, it's not an uncommon thing. It happens all the time. And they said on average, only 4 people a year die, which I'm like, okay. For a train derailment with a train carrying, 180 some odd cars.
Mm-hmm.
I know that a lot of the issues that Norfolk Southerns run into is that that they're making these trains like twice as long as they should be. And they don't have the braking capacity for it. And so that's half of the reason why they get derailed.
I think they were saying one of the reasons for the crash was like the wheels overheated.
Yeah, because they're trying to slow down.
The system wasn't efficient. Mm-hmm. I think that was something that was actually, I want to say that was something that actually happened under Trump's administration. Was something where he didn't. Like he didn't approve like changing the brake system or something, kept like the old system in place.
Oh, probably because they didn't want to regulate and change all that shit for him.
Probably
right?
something like that, but I think that's going to
cost them a lot of money.
Something under Trump's administration. But Yeah, February 3rd, we had the crash, and some of those cars were carrying hazardous material. One of note was vinyl chloride, as we all have heard, which is a very explosive gas. So they actually did a controlled burn, and God, if you could look up how many fucking animals died,
Oh,
it was
I mean,
I want to say it was like 20-fold what the EPA claimed,
right.
and they were like, well, it's actually like.
It's
It was like
not that
20,000 or
much.
something like that, or
And
2,000, 20,000.
And vinyl chloride it's not a bad chemical. It's used for adhesion. So once it's in a solid state, it's fine. Like you can like kind of like Scotch tape. Like you can touch the tape, right? It's fine for you. No one typically has adverse events from touching tape or duct tape or whatever. So in
Unless
that form, it's fine.
Unless they have a.
But in raw form, like most chemicals are going to be, in most forms, every chemical is reactive to something, so it's going to be dangerous to a certain degree. I mean, oxygen by itself, literally just oxygen, is not good for you.
It's very reactive.
It's reactive. It'll, like hydrogen, like nitrogen, and the air is made up of like 98% nitrogen. But the mixture is good for us. Obviously, we're still here. We're been around the planet for hundreds of thousands of years.
So, do you want to hear the death toll? The animal death toll?
Yeah, I'd love to hear.
The animal death toll, it's calculated. This was back in February 24th, by the way. From Huffington Post, they calculated 43,700 animals died because of that train derailment.
Damn. And we're not even talking about the amphibians, right?
Yeah, it says animals, so I don't know, primarily fish. So yeah, we're counting fish. Okay, but I mean, the river, I can't remember what river that is that runs through there. But I mean, people were like, yeah, they were just fish floating to the surface.
Right. And we're talking rivers that are 200 miles away too, that are still seeing it in the rivers. Like they'll drop rocks.
West Virginia is starting to see some of it.
That's pretty far away from Ohio.
Just crazy. Yeah. And so
that'd be like something happening in Utah, and it's just getting to like us. It would be like where I think the Colorado River starts in Montana. Don't quote me. Either that or South Dakota, or what's the state I'm missing? Yeah, it starts somewhere in that
Wyoming
region
or something.
Or
you're talking about the Colorado River,
or North Dakota, something like that. Maybe I'm thinking Mississippi.
I don't know where it goes.
Minnesota,
but the Arkansas River runs through Colorado.
It would be something catastrophic, like 4 states away, and you're seeing that now. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah. One of the big issues too was the EPA's telling the EPA, like the state level EPA, telling residents that it's safe to come back, and then everyone's reporting all of these similar symptoms. Like where they're having trouble breathing, nausea, headaches,
diarrhea,
visual disturbances, sore throats, coughing fits. And when they reach out to their physicians, like their local physicians, they are sending them to this little clinic that the state set up, which was like supposed to be like a resource because of this hazmat incident. And the resource isn't even telling them what to do for treatment.
Because they don't either. They don't.
I mean,
know,
it's just a total failure.
What?
Like, it's just a total failure at the state level, and the fact that the federal government hasn't stepped in and like provided aid. And I think Norfolk Southern was like, "Yeah, we're going to commit $1 million to like some support fund."
$1 million.
Yeah,
and I know it's a small town. It is
a small town, but I mean,
you're going to need a lot more than that. Think of how much water that you use a day. I mean, think about it. From the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, you're probably
you're drinking a lot. I mean, yeah. I mean,
you're either drinking a gallon of water a day, or we'll put average. We'll say 30. You're drinking 32 ounces of water a day, which is pretty low because you're drinking at least soda or tea or coffee. Like you're getting your fluid somewhere. Showers, washing your hands. Think about every single time you have to use water and how convenient it is. Just drink it out of your, or get it out of your faucet or wherever you get your water.
Yeah.
And then you're having to use bottled water.
Yeah, but they shut down a water bottle. What's the word? Plant. That was some, close, like not close, but like a little ways away, but it was like the nearest water bottle plant, and they had to shut that down.
Yeah, because they're taking probably from a natural spring-fed water that's probably been extremely contaminated. And I've heard this is like contaminated on levels of like Chernobyl. Like you're not going to be able to live in this area for...
They were comparing it to that.
For at least 20, 30, 40 years, which is crazy. Imagine you buying a house, Ryan. You saved up all your money throughout your life, and you finally bought a house at ripe age of 25, 30 years old. No one's ever buying that house. You're never going to get any equity out of that house ever again. So these people that live there are absolutely...
And that's another big issue is like they're stuck.
You're stuck. You can't go anywhere. There. Sure, you can leave your house, sell it to the bank for a fraction of the dime. That house will be sold to some schmuck that didn't know about this. It'd be like moving to Flint, Michigan. This is on the same level, if not worse than Flint, Michigan, where, to my knowledge, Flint, Michigan's water has not been solved to this day.
I don't think so.
Which blows my mind because we first heard about Flint, Michigan in what? Like 5 years ago? Start of...
Yeah, they had a documentary on Netflix about it.
So you have a documentary that probably takes at least, at the minimum, 6 months to produce a decent story. April 15th or April 25th of 2014 was the first reports. We're sitting here almost 9 years later, and that shit still ain't fixed. Ain't no way that the new Chernobyl is being fixed anytime soon.
Your government is failing you.
100%.
ABC News has a timeline of key events from this. And on February 23rd, they report that surveillance videos showed what appeared to be a wheel bearing in the final stage of overheat failure moments before the derailment. And they're saying that's the cause.
Yeah, I saw the report. It was like this train car was on flames for like miles before anything happened. And I don't know. I'm not a conductor or anything, but how are you going to know that a train car 200, carts back is on fire? You're not going to know that. Unless
the
someone
other
reports
issue
it.
Too with like lobbyists is like for the rail industry is they're trying to lobby for less workers on the train. Like they're wanting one person to run it.
Wasn't this big like last year where a bunch of people went on strike for not having like I think it was healthcare, because if you work over 32 hours a week, you have to have healthcare as a company. And so they didn't want to do that. They weren't giving them any PTO, time off, or sick leave. And they're probably giving them PTO, but like if you get sick, then it goes again. It's like you don't work, you don't get paid, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And this was a huge strike that happened for a while, and the company came out on top. It wasn't the workers. They couldn't unionize to get the rights that they needed to have. So that's another big thing. And then you mentioned earlier about the people who were testing for it. I think the EPA demanded Norfolk Southern to go and test.
It's a hard word to say.
It's not easy, especially for me.
It's almost like a northern folk.
Right. I don't know if this doesn't sound right to me. If you cause an accident, would you want your own people going and investigating that problem? Hell no. You know how much they're going to skew those results for them to come out in favor? It makes no absolute sense. Why isn't the EPA going and doing their own conductive research?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't think there's a good answer to that.
There's not. And so I think what I had found on the internet, and this is from the Gateway Pundit is they hired this company called CTEH, which stands for the Center for Toxicology and Environmental Health. It's just a firm that uses that title to work alongside government agencies. So there was a plane of 5 people that was leaving their office, and I don't know if this was just started to take off, but they're reporting that it crash land in Arkansas near Little Rock.
This is the plane crash you're talking about?
Plane crash, yeah. And all 5 of those people were died, and they were headed to Cleveland to go to East Palestine. And it's funny because I'm pulling up this article, and yes, like the companies reported that all 5 of those people have died, and they were on their way to go test, which is so. Here's 2 weird things. One, Norfolk Southern was contracted with them, so that's their own reporting team, and so they end up crashing a plane. No, I'm not saying Norfolk crashed the plane, but the plane crashed, and the FAA is still investigating the incident. So who knows what's going to happen there? But it's not very common that small planes like that are crashing without some sort of incidents. I know that there was like high winds or something, and they shouldn't have been taken off. So maybe that was the case. I'm not really exactly sure. That's what they said. And then we have the site called PolitiFact. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. And so it's basically Snopes for basically the same thing.
Yeah.
But they're saying that it's false, that the company was contracted with Norfolk and the 5 people were there. They said, "Oh, this company's going to test out some other location near Cleveland. They're not going to East Palestine." It's like, how do you know that for sure? Wouldn't you want to go to a bigger airport? I don't know how far Cleveland is from East Palestine. A little sketchy, but PolitiFact's like, no, they weren't there to go test anything. Which
PolitiFact's never been wrong,
right? Doesn't raise any questions. Do you want to know who PolitiFact's biggest donor was last year?
Sam Bankman-Fried.
Funny, Bill Gates, and we all know Bill Gates has
the biggest health advocate. This
biggest health
known.
Advocate. Did you know the Bill Gates' biggest donor last year was to his own organization? Yes. To
Weird.
His Bill and Melinda.
To his untaxed organization?
Crazy that your biggest donation, not probably tax evasion at all, right?
Could he be paying himself?
Yeah, maybe to a degree, which is crazy. So, believe PolitiFact all you want. I'm sure they have a lot of good things right, and a lot of great things wrong. But I'm just gonna leave that for the audience to depict on that. So unfortunate for those 5 people, they did die, and it sucks because they range from like ages, like young age of 22 years old to 41. Guess what airport they left from? This is also kind of funny.
In Arkansas?
In Arkansas, yeah.
Bill Clinton's airport?
Yeah. The twin-engine BE-20 crashed in a wooded area after taking off from Little Rock's Bill and Hillary Clinton National Airport. All 5 of the employees.
What do you think? Hillary was just like had an RPG or something and was just watching them take off?
Most likely, yeah. That's probably the most logical sense. Yeah. Incredible. A lot of weird connections there. I mean, that story alone, just little plane we know Bill conspired with Jeff Epstein. And if you don't know that, then go look it up because
we're waiting for them flight logs to get released.
Well, the Jeff Epstein's little black book has been released. You can go see the names, but these are from basically like the late 90s to early 2000s. We don't know we do somewhat know of the flight logs from early 2000s until the time Jeff died in prison.
Well, he died, but how
I
he
put
died.
I put it in quotes because died. He did die. But yeah, we'll leave that up for Hopefully, I'm waiting on these documents. I don't know if you saw that Aaron Rodgers even spoke about it.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers was on the Pat McAfee show. He's like, I don't know if you ever hear, because he goes on Pat McAfee show every Tuesday. It's Aaron Rodgers hour. I'm not a big fan of Aaron Rodgers, but because I'm a Bears fan, so obviously I'm
becoming more of an
him,
Aaron Rodgers fan.
But I am too
because of the stuff he's been saying.
He's kind of like woke on the like wake up people thing, kind of like Russell Brand bringing out these big opinions and facts on stuff that's happening. And Jimmy Kimmel was like, I think Aaron Rodgers needs to go back to his little hideout.
I saw that video,
and it's like, are you scared of Aaron Rodgers just mentioning that because he's a big, obviously, athlete, but you're a celebrity at that point, right? So people are going to listen to you. So it's kind of funny to hear that. Anyways, that's the whole Epstein thing's another crazy thing I want to talk about, but
we will get into it. But I do have an article here from News Nation Now that's talking about a team of independent testers found that, and this is Jorge Ventura who reported on this. It says a team of independent testers found that the environment in East Palestine, Ohio contains acute health risks 1 month after the Norfolk Southern train derailment. The EPA reported that the air, water, and soil are not contaminated based on their latest findings. Environmental scientist Andrew Welton and his team of students from Purdue carried out independent testing on creeks and homes near the derailment to analyze what contaminants might still be in the water. Quote, what we're finding now is that the creek poses an acute health risk to the community. Creeks are heavily contaminated with residue. According to Welton, it's possible to burn create additional compounds the EPA may not be testing for. And I think that is a bright red flag because you can't find what you're not testing for.
Right. Why would you be testing for? It's like, let's just test for uranium.
I think it's to downplay it. To downplay it.
You have to be. You'd be stupid not to.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we didn't find anything based on what results.
And I got some more. I got more for you.
Let's hear it.
Quote, and so the acute health effects of these things that you have, throat irritation, eye irritation, nausea, other things, Welton reported. So there is contamination still in the creek that needs to be addressed and the public has to be protected. Heavy rainfall has reportedly caused a Norfolk Southern dam to overflow. Apparently that was nothing to do with... DeWine says that it's designed that way, that it's supposed to overflow. I can't remember why he said, but I read something about that.
Okay.
Oh, he says it right here.
Convenient.
Ohio Governor Mike DeWine said in a statement that the overflow was part of a remediation plan. Quote, although it may have appeared that the dam in this area was breached on Friday evening, the overflow of water was part of the mitigation plan to address the increase in water caused by heavy rains. The dam did not fail. So, speaking of, so we have Texas A&M, Purdue, and the Carnegie Mellons?
Sure.
Carnegie Mellons. I don't know. There's 2 L's in it. The Center for Atmospheric Particle Studies Mobile Air Quality Lab did some testing. And while they didn't find benzene, toluene, and xylenes in the vinyl chloride, they were below the minimal risk levels for intermediate exposures, which is 15 days to 1 year. There were no quote-unquote hotspots detected by the mobile sampling. This analysis corroborates the data collected by the EPA between February 8th and February 22nd. However, acrylane levels range from 5 times lower to 3 times higher in East Palestine on February 20th than those in downtown Pittsburgh, whose concentrations are typical of other cities across the country. The team used previously collected air quality concentrations in Pittsburgh as a standard sample for comparison. This analysis confirms potential long-term health concerns previously noted by the EPA's acrylene air data. Several of the EPA samples were above the intermediate 15-day to 1 year levels. Quote, our mobile sampling results show that many of these pollutants The concentrations are within typical ranges, but acrolein remains a chemical of potential concern. So why they leave that out is beyond me.
Because they don't want to be subject to all the bad media that they've already had. But
again, it's one of those things we talked about last episode. Maintaining credibility.
Right.
Getting ahead of stuff. Texas A&M today.texasamu.edu also reports that they confirmed levels of acrolein that varied greatly, both spatially and over time, and occasionally rose above safety thresholds for long-term health concerns. Acrolein is a colorless liquid chemical that becomes a vapor when heated and can cause lung damage when inhaled over a long period of time. So we don't know how much of this stuff is in the air because there's such a wide variety, and that's probably why these people are having respiratory issues.
Yeah, and it says like a long period of time is like, is it on the same level as smoking? Because I've been smoking since I was basically 16, 17. And if I quit now, or even in the next 10 years, I'm going to be probably okay. Okay. I said okay. I didn't say great. I didn't say perfect.
When are you quitting?
I don't know. It's near future, but
near future. Got it. Near future. You heard him. Quoted. He's quoting it here live.
Put it on the books. Regardless, it's not a chemical that you normally are supposed to inhale. So there's something wrong with it. There's something that has to be done. When something like this happens, you're bound to get sued, right? I would hope. So speaking on that, what I found out, and I'm going to pull up this article here for us to read. And this is from MSN, so no crazy source here. One, this picture alone is worth like 1 million words. Just, can you imagine that blowing up? Oh shit. Blowing up next to your house.
No, dude, some of the shit is wild.
And you're just like, they're like, it's not a big deal. And then you come to find out it's not just like a house burning down or just a big building burning down. That's just quite literally vinyl chloride burning into the atmosphere. And what's crazy about this is this was a controlled detonation on the portion of it. So if we're saying all this stuff's leaking, what's the best way to eradicate that? I have no idea. I'm not an EPA. I don't know how to control any of that. But I really feel like just blowing up shit and letting that go right into the air when they're already like, yeah, you don't want to breathe this in, is a terrible idea. And I'm no environmental expert at all. Blows my mind. And I think we're going to see reaping effects of this, not only in East Palestine, but I think 3, 4, 5, 600,000, maybe even like close to us. If you look at the like circle graphs that you've probably seen maybe on TikTok or any other website, I've seen a lot on TikTok, is like this affects pretty much the biggest part of the heart of the country, the greater Midwest of America. And like you said earlier, if you're seeing this in West Virginia, we might be seeing it in Illinois, Arkansas, Kansas, Missouri. And I've seen reports of people seeing acid rain on their cars from states away. Their drinking water showing up as murky, and it being like this being cloudy. Thankfully, mine still looks fine and tastes as normal as ever. So there's been another. You said earlier 1 million. I think it's gotten up to, so in this report, $7 million. We're going to watch this video here in a sec.
Okay.
But what's crazy is like this lawsuit is only for the residents within 30 miles of the derailment. Can you imagine being 31 miles out and you're like, yeah, sorry, buddy, you're screwed. So
sorry about you. Sorry about your lungs.
Yeah, you're just screwed. So this is just a short video, and I think it's just recapping where the settlements and whatnot have gone. So blow this up real quick. Let me know
Did
if you can hear this.
Did you share it with audio?
Can you hear it?
No.
Well, just another thing you can't share, okay?
Are your speakers set to the right thing?
Probably not. No. They are not. Of course, they're.
Did you share with system audio? Nope.
I did share. All right. I'll just have to do what Ryan had to do. Yeah.
Just put it in chat. I'll open it.
Okay.
And here, I'm gonna. This is the map right here. This is the contamination map.
Can you zoom out?
No. I can't.
I can't even find chat in this.
It's lower. There you go.
I got it. Do you edit all this shit out when we're like struggling? Because you should. Like just these moments.
No. Well, sometimes. I like when people see us struggle.
Well, I don't. It makes us look like we're never prepared. Like we just woke up and said, "Hey, you want to start a podcast today?"
It's pretty much what we did. All right.
Pretty much.
Can you hear it?
Add another $7 million to Norfolk Southern's derailment relief tab. This time, the money is going to Beaver and Lawrence counties.
KDK's Erica Moke joins us from Beaver County now with a look at who that money is going to help. Erica.
Beaver County.
Yeah, Ken and Kim, the governor's office made that announcement this morning that a big chunk of that money will head to people in Lawrence and Beaver counties, businesses and people impacted by the train derailment. Now the question is who, how, and when they will get that money. Just beyond the Ohio state line, just outside the epicenter of the toxic derailment site, is Darlington Township, Pennsylvania.
A lot of people don't realize Darlington Township is virtually East Palestine, Ohio's backyard.
While most of the focus has been on East Palestine, Ohio, the town's PA neighbors could soon see some relief. Governor Shapiro's office announcing today, Norfolk Southern will pay millions to people and businesses in Lawrence and Beaver counties.
Beaver County was 800 feet from the train derailment. Those are in our residents' backyards.
Beaver County Commission Chair Daniel Camp says they don't know many details, but anticipate the board will be involved in putting that money where it belongs. According to the governor's office, $5 million will go to local fire departments, and an additional $1 million will go to community relief to support people and businesses impacted by the derailment.
We won't know the full effects for months to come. So, we're happy to see that there's a little bit of relief coming.
I back out of my driveway. I'm at the Ohio line in a minute and a half. Darlington Township should not be forgotten.
Not only does Joe Moores live in Darlington Township, he owns an auto repair shop here too, which lost money immediately following the derailment. He says the funds may help now, but it's the long-term effects he's worried about.
I don't know if there is a right or a wrong answer, but the people of East Palestine, Darlington Township, I think they need to be compensated for, if nothing else, just mental peace of mind. I mean, these people are going through hell right now.
Now, Commissioner Camp, who you did hear from in that story, says that he does plan to be in Harrisburg tomorrow and is hoping to get some more information about these funds. Once that happens and we learn more from him, we'll be sure to pass that information along to you. For now, reporting live in Beaver County, Erica Moke.
Good old
KDK
Beaver County, which is, if you're looking at the map here, so this is where that guy was just talking about. And this is East Palestine. So, I mean, just following the river, I guess it comes from that lake. But even if we're talking about the air quality, and most air is usually going east, right? I think, or east or southeast, and they're going to be affected. And here's Darlington. I mean, that's kind of far away. But I mean, I say far away. It's not drastic. You're probably talking maybe like 30 minutes, 45 minutes.
He said like a minute and a half.
Well, he must be a lot closer than what the hell they're talking about. Transit.
I don't know.
I don't know, but that's where it happened, right where my mouse is. Not where, I guess where the Walmart Supercenter is. And you said people in West Virginia already, and Virginia?
I can't remember which town in Pennsylvania or West Virginia.
I mean, it's not far. I wouldn't be surprised if Pittsburgh is affected by it. Bro, think if it gets in like, what the fuck is this? This river. What is this? I don't know.
West Virginia River?
Ohio River. Yeah,
the Ohio River?
That's a big river. If it gets into that, everyone's screwed from all these towns all the way down. I mean, I was about to say, wouldn't it be funny? It's not funny, but wouldn't it be crazy that you start hearing reports like down in Kentucky, West Virginia, Nashville. Tennessee.
Well, Nashville's kind of along that line, but
that you're starting to see it along the Ohio River. That would be crazy. That's when it's when these bigger towns get like affected by it is when the government's like, oh, okay, maybe we should actually do something about it. But at that point, I'd figure it'd be too late.
You'd think.
So I don't know. Just continue to monitor. It's just, but what's crazy is that's not the only train derailment that's happened in the past like 3 months. There's been other derailments that have. There's this stuff happens all the time, and it never gets any reports. And I don't know like what happens to our environment when, say, a fertilizer plant goes up in flames or whatever chemical they're producing. It's like, how do we mitigate? Obviously, you can't mitigate like it blowing up or something derailing or whatever. Well, yeah, you probably can to a degree.
Well, they called this event 100% preventable.
Well, okay. Well, why'd they blow up those train cars is what I want to know.
I don't know.
They're like, that's going to be the best thing. We'll just blow it up. This town will be fine.
It's reasonable.
No one wants to live here anyways. It's like,
I got a short video here from Crystal Ball of
Meth.
Breaking Points.
Yep. Let's hear it. Audio.
God.
Oh, this is a short?
Yeah.
That's where I need to be putting all my TikToks on too. All right, Tim.
Stop sharing.
Share with audio.
Automatically?
Dude, don't know. Riverside sucks.
It does, dude.
Riverside.
I was talking some shit in both those voiceovers I had to do for the last episode.
What is Riverside going to do? They don't care. They're getting our money.
They don't care. They're taking our money. Okay, here we
Well,
go.
let's just record on a different app.
You can find it. Here we go.
Palestine, Ohio, are now being told they better stick to bottled water for the foreseeable future as a toxic soup of chemicals makes its way through that community's waterways. Norfolk Southern and their industry allies have perpetrated a grave crime, and the corporate news media have served as accomplices in the cover-up. On cable, national networks CNN, Fox News Channel, and MSNBC, they aired just over 2.5 hours of coverage on the train derailment. CNN did the most coverage of the three networks thanks to their if it bleeds, it leads orientation. Not a single segment actually looked at the bipartisan political corruption that led to the catastrophe. Not one. Sensationalism with zero accountability. CNN way. Fox, now they're leaning in after Pete handed them an absolute gift by talking about white construction crews. With this blessing from the culture war gods, Fox has now decided to cover the story. You want to know why the media is covering up for industry on this story? It is the same reason they do it all the time. because it doesn't fit their dumb partisan black and white narrative.
True. It's a good point. It's like I was thinking
And
the
again,
other day. Yeah, go.
We talked about this, about why people are leaving mainstream media and moving to independent journalism.
Right. Because you don't get any bipartisan. It's left or right, or it's owned by the same two companies, really.
Well, you don't get the truth.
No, you don't. You don't. And
you get
and hands off to
a narrative.
Hands off to independent people who go and actually research this shit and like go and ask these guys. Just because I think what the best thing about independent journalism is you're not carrying a badge saying CNN or you work for a corporation, right? You're just walking up to a guy with a Kirkland sweater like this. And you're like, what are you guys doing today? What are you doing to prevent this? And like, they're probably like caught off guard because you just probably look like a average citizen, right? So keep pushing it. Keep finding out the facts. Keep pushing. I was just going to follow up with this because like what the girl was saying in the video is like left, right wing media just keeps covering up, or not left, right wing media. I mean, yes, but mainstream corporations are just shoving this, well, we'll be fine. Just a bad PR for a couple of months. We'll be fine. Kind of like BP incident, which was fucking terrible. Let's be honest. And hopefully the Gulf is recovered since then. But
until the next one.
Yeah. I was just thinking of like recycling. I don't know why the other night I was like, I'm doing everything right. Putting my papers in plastics and whatever in the right containers. And I'm like, how do we have so much shit in the ocean? Like I'm doing my part. Who's dumping that stuff in the ocean? Just being like, we don't have anywhere to put it. That's a whole nother segue we can get into. But I've heard that recycling, and I think it's a good thing, but I've heard it's a scam as far as like corporations go for it. Preliminary. Sure. I haven't done too much research into it.
We'll have to look into it.
But I think that would be another good discussion. Man, the more I do this show, the more I'm just like...
The more you think about shit.
How are we so screwed up in so many different industries? And is it us that's doing this stuff bad? Or is it like the big corporations? Is it government? There's obviously a ton of factors that all play into it. But I think every single American, at least in our country, and what issues we deal with, we're trying to do the right things most of the time. I'd say like 80% of us, which is a good portion.
Yeah, I'd say a vast majority.
Probably 80, 90%.
Try to do the right thing.
Right. It's what are the other 10% of people, 20% that are just massively screwing everything up for everyone else? It's kind of crazy to even think about that. So on that note,
it seems like an incident, where the government should step in and force the railroad company to be the ones that are being held accountable and basically supporting that community.
Yeah.
With funds.
That's where you want your government to come in.
That's exactly where we want the government. I don't want the government to be like, all right, we're gonna propose a huge spending bill and we're gonna put all our little shit that we want in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because every time a spending bill comes up, everyone's got to get their shit in, got to get their jabs in, so that they can get they can get something out of it. It should be no. This company, we have direct evidence that you fucked up and you've killed animals, you have affected the health and the well-being and the livelihood of these people. You're now accountable for funding and making sure that this gets cleaned up. These people have housing, they have clean water, and they have all their necessities.
Yeah.
Until we can say that it is safe for them to go about their lives again.
Yeah, I agree. They made $4.5 billion last year. And to say that
I don't care if this makes you go bankrupt.
But, and hear me out. Every single American is expected to have like a savings account, right? For shit that goes wrong. Why aren't corporations held to like the same standard for when shit goes wrong? You guys fucked up. Your train derailed. You blew that shit up. You cost so much money for all these people in this small town.
And to
Fix
piggyback
it.
off that, why do they pay a fine to the government?
What's the government going to do?
Why aren't they paying money to that community?
Well, and yeah, they said, oh, we'll pay $1 million out of what? The 405 other tenfold of what you just made last year alone? And you can't say that, oh, hey, as a company, in case anything goes wrong, we have out of that 4.5 billion, we only saved $30 million for stuff that go wrong.
Dude, that'd be like
That's
getting in a car
nothing.
accident that you caused recklessly because you were like drunk or something, and
Sure.
then you're like to the other person that got injured, you're like, here's $20, man.
Yeah, hope that solves
like-
your issue.
Yeah, and you're
Sorry,
walking
man.
away.
I hope life's okay. And that person's like your friend, our friend,
Loved one?
no,
What are you snapping at me for?
got T-bone, drunk driver.
Oh, my buddy Jeff?
Jeff, yes, thank you.
Yeah,
It'd
the
be
guy
like,
didn't have insurance. Fucked him, dude.
Right. It's the same thing that these companies are doing to what happened to poor Jeff.
Yeah.
And thankfully, that man's alive.
Yeah. 100%.
Do you ever sue that guy? It's probably not something we should talk about on the podcast.
Yeah, I don't know the full details on that. I'm not gonna guess.
We'll see.
I'm not gonna.
Well, if Jeff wants to
speculate.
come on and talk about that, it's an amazing.
I'm sure
story.
he would love to.
It's a crazy story.
On the very first podcast I ever did, that was like the first or second episode I ever did, was interviewing him.
Yeah, I'd love to have him on.
It's good times.
Anyways, if any of y'all want to come on, I know I've had people that are like, "Oh yeah, I'll be on." I'm like, mic's open.
Crickets.
We got you if you want to, but until that
You gotta
happens,
come with some shit though.
Yep, that's why I just tell people, if you're inspired by a certain subject that you really want to talk about, let us know. We'll have you on.
And you know some shit.
Just yeah, when we talk about 9/11, and Harry Brewer is going to come on, and he's very passionate about it. His name in my fantasy football league since
Investigate 9/11.
Yeah, has been that since it. So that was like 6 years ago. So pretty crazy.
Pretty crazy.
Pretty crazy. All right. Well, that's all we got to say about that. If anything extra comes out about these trains,
Yeah, I was gonna say
we'll talk about it for
story.
sure. I know Alex Murdaugh case has kind of been blown over, and you should
Still
probably
fun to talk about.
You should probably know the details. I think if I want to talk about anything about the Murdaugh case, is I don't know, like his jail tapes, his jail tapes, stuff that's like, was there more than one killer on that night? Because we all know that Alex was lying every single step of the way. It just kind of is like the way he went about it, or that night, just seems so odd. And obviously he was a lawyer, so he knows like what to do to cover things up. It's kind of funny because I see the parallel between someone that's been a prosecutor, or I don't know what type of lawyer. I think he was a prosecutor. And then you see someone like Brian Kohberger, who we had talked about previously, who killed the 4 people in Idaho, who says, oh, maybe I can make out with these. And we don't know the results of Brian Kohberger yet. He's innocent until proven guilty. But I put it on that like same basis. Do we look in the eyes of a killer of like, he's been studying that shit for, and not professionally, or do we look at the eyes of someone like Alex Murdaugh that's
Been practicing law.
And his family's like own that town basically for
Yeah. He's
like
gotten his family
100 years.
out of some shit. And there's a lot of weird things that are connected to them.
There's a lot more than just his own son and his own wife. And I'm not 100% convinced that he killed them.
It'll be interesting to talk about.
Yeah. So until next time.
Well, we have that. We have the Epstein.
Oh gosh. Until Epstein stuff comes out, I'm not going to talk about it.
Well, I mean, we also have the Chinese spy balloon.
Oh god.
All that stuff.
I'm just not too worried about the spy balloons. I haven't seen anything about it since.
The Ukrainian war. There's a lot of shit coming out with the Ukrainian war with the corruption in the government.
What we're basically saying is there's just nonstop content in this day and age. We can talk about it all. Old shit, new shit. It's just never ending. So many stories. God. Wow. We can do this forever, Ryan.
We still have Bohemian Grove, Denver Airport.
Oh. Damn. Let's put a poll up.
We should. I also realize now that I've never once put up like our Instagram or Twitter handles.
Our own?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
So nobody knows how to find us. Maybe I'll put that up in the very beginning of the episode.
Let me clean up my Instagram. I'm just kidding. I don't have anything to hide. My Instagram's pretty...
You don't even post that much.
No. I only post my life every year. After I got married, I was like, no one needs to know what's going on in my life. I'm happy. I'm content. Is that like a sad way of looking at it?
No.
I don't do it for the likes.
I don't post a lot either, but
no,
I know,
you don't.
like, we got to post more and promote this bad boy.
Yeah, no. I get that.
All right.
All right.
Good on you. Well, this episode 14 in the books.
Hey, man, we're moving up in this world.
We're moving up in the world.
Love it. I can't wait till we get to episode 100 and say, look where we started from and look where we are.
Who'd have thought?
And we're going to do it this year. Easily.
100 episodes? We'll get to episode 100 this year.
I think so.
It's a lofty goal, but all right.
That's our goal.
Let's do it.
We'll keep talking. We'll keep vibing, baby.
Keep vibing. All right.
Well,
catch you in the next one.
See ya.
Congratulations. You've made it to the end. You might as well tune in for the next episode of Indecent Exposure. That's all, folks. Until next time, Space Cowboy.